Alright guys, picking up where we left off. This is part 2 of the Micro J-3 Cub build. When I left off, I was finishing up the main wing. Since then I went ahead and applied my paint. Turned out sweet. Again, I used the plans to make a clipped wing cub. As you can see, it's shorter than the original. Now what I did here was I applied my camel yellow paint. What I got here, a Tamiya color, TS34 camel yellow. And this stuff you can paint right onto the Depron foam and it won't melt it. So after I applied my paint, went ahead and made a little template here. Used my Sharpie, black Sharpie. Made a line down the center of the wing first. And then I just go off that center line, the little template I made. Went ahead and applied the lines all the way down the wing. And what that does is just makes it look like it has the ribs in the wing. Actually turns out really cool. You guys can make it whatever size you want, your template for applying the lines. Mine is actually 1 1/8 inches wide. So if you draw a line down the center, take a piece of scrap Depron foam, make it 1 1/8 inches wide, and just go ahead and apply all your lines. See, it's all hinged. I also like to go back and put a Sharpie line down each aileron, gives it that finished look. And this is for my little J3 Cub I'm building. This is actually a plane off YouTube. It's called the little J3 Cub. It's a short takeoff and landing plane. Alright, so I'm going to pick up where we left off, and I'm going to start on the main fuselage, which you can see here. Which is what I already cut out. I just cut the main fuselage off the plans, taped it down on my 3mm Depron. Went ahead with my X-Acto knife, cut it all out. You don't even have to score the lines until after, like I got 2 score lines where the fuselage is going to fold up on itself. You don't even have to score those until after you cut it out. Then I just went back and scored them. And then after you score them, don't go trying to break the foam. Just leave it in one piece until you flip it over, and again you're going to want to apply a couple of pieces of tape. I got a piece of Scotch tape here and here. Then you can take it, flip it back over, and take where you scored it and V-notch it on both sides. Basically I cut a 45 on both sides of the score line. So that way the fuselage will fold up on itself. Alright, so after I do all that, I'm going to go ahead and apply some hot glue in the 2 score lines. two V notches we cut out. Then take and stand this straight up. Take both sides, fold them straight up. Again, make sure you're working on a flat surface. Give this a second to set up. Just make sure both sides are standing straight up, guys. If you want, you can even angle them in slightly in toward each other. I like to give it enough time for the hot glue to set up. I hate to letting go early and then it all comes out of shape. Alright, so there we got it. Our sides all made. I got cat hair all over my foam. So there you can see I took and folded both sides straight up. Now for the bottom is actually going to fold in between the two sides like that. Make sure that that's how you do it. You don't want to put the bottom on top of the two sides like that. That's not the way it goes. Bottom actually folds in, then the two sides butt up against it. Same thing for the nose. But right now I'm going to take and install this windshield I cut out. See, there's just a straight cut. And you know, when you guys cut out your windshield, I got some monocoat here. Just got the peel and stick kind. I just went ahead and traced it out on to the back of the monocoat sheet. Went ahead and cut out for the windshield. That way you ain't got to do this once you apply this. You'll be able to just stick that right on. Alright, now for the windshield, these are the steps I like to do this in. It gets put in between the two sides. So as you can see, it's in between them. So it'll butt right up against each side. Just like so. I'll take and hit one half of this. Just go ahead and apply it to one side for now. I'll go ahead and spread it out some. the other side. Hadn't removed any of that excess glue. Now for doing this, you guys can also use foam safe glue to install this stuff, but for the videos I'm just using my hot glue guns because it sets up a lot quicker. But I mean, if you guys want to use foam safe glue, you can do that too. It'll just take a little longer for it to set up. But when I do this stuff, I prefer to use the hot glue. Alright, now I'm going to work on the nose of the plane here. As you can see, I made this a little extra long, and I'll take and score it once I start hot gluing it. But again, it folds up in between the two sides. The sides butt right up against the bottom piece. Just like so. Go in here and apply some hot glue. I give that time to set up. So I just applied the hot glue up until this is going to start making the turn around to the front, to the nose of the plane. So now what I'll do, make sure this glue is nice and dry. Now we can take and start scoring this to get the nose to start rounding around, going around the front. You can see there, I just scored every, I'd say you could do an 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16. I mean, whatever it takes to get it to bend around to the front. I'm just doing like 3/16. As you can see, I scored all those lines because I gotta bend this wrap around the front. After I do that, I'll take some clear Scotch tape again before I go trying to bend it, because it'll just crack if I don't Scotch tape it. I'll go ahead and apply my Scotch tape to the inside. Now I'll go ahead and finish up my score marks. I'll finish scoring down right down to the tape now. Now we can start breaking this where there I just broke all the lines that are near the nose there. Now we can get this to fold up. I went ahead and made the nose a little extra long so we can trim back some. Like I gotta have my motor poking out of here. Motor's gonna come through the front. And I'm going to take and cut off like 3/4 of an inch I'm going to do, which will be my third score line here. Now we can go ahead and finish up hot gluing this. Again, I'm just going to hold it in place till the glue sets up. So like I said, I'd just go ahead, I prefer the hot glue guns over the foam safe glue. I mean, it's just an option if you want to try to make your plane slightly lighter and use the foam safe glue. It's just going to take more time to set up. I'll go ahead and just clean up some of this hot glue. Alright, so there's the front of the fuselage. I'll go ahead, went ahead and cut out the top of the cowl. course, this is going to butt down inside. Just like that. I went ahead and made some of these pieces slightly longer, so that way in the end you can go back. Like I take some fine sandpaper here. It's actually P150 3M, and I'll be able to sand all these parts, just the very ends, to round them off slightly. Same thing by the windshield. And for the nose, like I said, you'll be able to trim off some of this excess foam. And round this off. But we'll do that in the end. And again, this piece butts down on the inside. Just like so. But I don't install this yet. I like to leave this off until, I mean, of course you still got to install your motor mount, which you can use like a piece of balsa. You just cut out a piece of balsa wood, probably like hardened balsa wood. For this one, I just went ahead and used the motor mount that came out of the, I'm not sure what did that come off of. Used a plastic motor mount on this one. It was actually out of the Carbon Cub, I believe, that particular motor mount, and it was able to just hot glue it in between here. So however you guys want to install your motor, I don't really put it on the plans because a lot of you might use different kinds of motors, or you might have your own particular way of installing it. So again, just leave that right off until you're done installing your motor and your electronics and all that. You can also go and cut a 45-degree angle at the back of the cowl to get it to butt up against the windshield nice. So again, there's the nose. And this here would be trimmed back. Then I'll just go ahead and sand it all nice and flush, make it look real nice. And of course, there's where my motor is going to come through. Alright, so the same thing for the back here. And again, this is going to fold up in between the two sides. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and put a couple of piece tack glue spots here. I'll go ahead and fold it to where it needs to be. Just like that. And then I'll go ahead from the inside and finish it off. Let's go ahead and do that now. Like, go ahead and wipe away any of that excess glue. This is what I'm saying for the, you know, for the rest of this, you can also just go ahead and use your foam safe glue. This is what I was saying about the foam safe glue. It's going to take more time to set up. That's why I prefer to use hot glue, but in some areas it's best to use it, like near this back here. That way you don't got hot glue spilling out all over the place. As you can see, our fuselage taking shape real nice. I'm going to go ahead and drop a couple of pieces, drop a few spots of hot glue down in here just to get this to hold. You don't want to hot glue across the back here. I mean, because if you guys, when you guys install your rudder, you guys might want to use a CA hinge, or I always just use clear tape. Like, I'll put two pieces of clear tape side by side and hold that hinge line onto the back.